Arctic cold gripped the Midwest for weeks on end. Great blizzards paralyzed cities of the Northeast. One desperate night in Buffalo, 8 people froze to death in marooned cars. Pat Bushnell was on the road that night.
Traffic just absolutely stopped. I was afraid of being stuck in the car all night long with the cold and the wind, running out of gas. And then what? I think that if we had to go through
Oh, hello. I seem to be having some trouble getting things working today. Some reason I couldn't get my video to play sound, but I think I'm on now. How's everybody doing today? There we go. But I think I'm on now. Turn the volume down on that phone. Well, I wanted to play a video about the Ice Age, or about the coming Ice Age. That was my in search of video for today. And actually, I'm not quite ready to go live because I was going to play the video and finish my toast and coffee. Let me try it again. Don't understand why. Let me see. Oh, that's just a photo. Bear with me a moment, folks. Ah, working now. Okay, I'm going to try this again. And hope you guys enjoy this classic old video. It was very interesting. I remember this very well, them telling us it was going to be a coming ice age. Let's try this again.
In 1977, the
Hear
worst
that?
winter in a century struck the United States. Arctic cold gripped the Midwest for weeks on end. Great blizzards paralyzed cities of the Northeast. One desperate night in Buffalo, 8 people froze to death in marooned cars. Pat Bushnell was on the road that night.
traffic just absolutely stopped. I was afraid of being stuck in the car all night long with the cold and the wind, running out of gas. And then what? I think that if we had to go through a real bad winter, just like we just went through, I think we'd have to think about moving someplace else.
Move where? The brutal Buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way. According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts, long free of summer ice, are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
Of the 9 planets in our solar system, only Earth has conditions favorable to human life. Our existence depends on a delicate balance of climate. Despite our modern technology, we are vulnerable to the whims of weather and environment. Blanketing large areas of the Earth's surface, great storms are among nature's most frightening events. Uncontrollable tempests make us aware how fragile life on our planet really is. The comfortable cycle of spring sowing, summer growth, and fall harvest is, in terms of long history, abnormal. Only in the last 10,000 years has Earth enjoyed continuing warmth. Because of this, our population has exploded to 5 billion people. For most of the last million years, however, whole continents were buried by ice. As recently as 18,000 years ago, a mile-thick sheet stretched down from the Arctic Circle and covered what is now Seattle, Chicago, and Boston. New York Harbor was choked with ice floes. Winters were cold and snowy down to the Gulf of Mexico. All that remains of the great glaciers that once covered North America are the ice caps of the Canadian Arctic. If the ice spreads over the continent again, it is here on Baffin Island in northern Canada that the mysterious process will begin. We look to this lonely outpost for warnings of a new ice age. Straddling the Arctic Circle, Baffin Island is a harshly beautiful wilderness. It is larger than California, but not one tree grows on the entire island. The only vegetation is the stunted plant life of the tundra. Most of the inhabitants are Inuit Eskimos, whose ancestors migrated west from Greenland 1,000 years ago. Today, the island is poised on the brink of ice age conditions, a critical signal post for changes in the Earth's climate. According to geologists, the last major ice age began on Baffin Island 115,000 years ago. Perpetual snow spread southward over the continents. The weight of many years of snow compressed into ice. The ice grew thicker until it covered Canada, the northern United States, and Europe to a depth of 2 miles. For 100,000 years, the ice remained over large areas of the continents. Then, it retreated to the Arctic, and for the last 10,000 years, we have flourished in a warm interglacial period. Our planet is crowded. What will we do when the fragile balance of climate shifts from today's abnormal warmth and the next ice age begins?
One of the questions that I'm frequently asked is, when will this present warm interval end? And the best answer to that probably is that it has in fact already ended, and it ended 3,000 years ago right here on Baffin Island.
Dr. Gifford Miller is a glaciologist from the University of Colorado. He's been studying the climate and glaciers of Baffin Island for the past 6 years.
For the last 3,000 years, the summer temperatures have been getting colder, and the amount of precipitation, rainfall and snowfall has decreased, so that the conditions have been drier and colder. And at the same time, the glaciers have expanded. In the most recent expansion, which occurred between 300 years ago and the turn of the present century, the glaciers attained their most extensive positions that they had during the last 8,000 years. The summer of 1972 was one of the most severe summers on record, and the ice never melted that summer. And when I returned to Broughton Island, one of the local settlements here, talking to the Inuit people, and they could only tell me that their fathers had told them of a time when the ice hadn't gone out.
This once-in-a-lifetime summer ice has surprised old-time Arctic residents. Ernie Sieber is superintendent of Baffin Island National Park and has lived in the Arctic for over 20 years.
We had, in 1973, we had ice all over at the East Coast. The fjords, some of the ice in the fjords didn't even leave. And almost every year since, we had ice moving in and out of the fjords. So it looks like the climate has changed. It looks like it turned colder.
Since concern for our weather has increased, the park wardens now take daily records of temperatures, wind, and solar radiation. Weather data from stations all over the Arctic is collected and fed into central computers. Balloons are launched every day to monitor the winds and temperatures at high altitudes. The data shows that average temperatures in the Arctic have fallen dramatically over the last 30 years. In most locations, the drop has been about 2 degrees centigrade. At that rate, the descent to Ice Age temperatures could take less than 200 years. It is not only the lonely Arctic that has cooled. The whole northern hemisphere is growing steadily colder.
There is little doubt that someday the ice will return. At least 8 times in the past million years, it has advanced and retreated with clockwork regularity. If we are unprepared for the next advance, the result could be hunger and death on a scale unprecedented in all of history. What scientists are telling us now is that the threat of an ice age is not as remote as they once thought. During the lifetime of our grandchildren, Arctic cold and perpetual snow could turn most of the inhabitable portions of our planet into a polar desert.
In Greenland, the snows of centuries have piled up on the largest ice cap in the northern hemisphere. Scientists have recently discovered evidence of a climatic catastrophe. Drilling down over 1,400 meters, geologists have collected precious samples of ancient ice. Some of it fell as snow over 100,000 years ago. The ice is shipped south, where it is kept frozen at minus 35 degrees and carefully divided up for study. By separating out the 2 forms of oxygen in the ice, scientists have been able to chart the temperatures when it fell as snow. Near the bottom of the ice cap, they found traces of widespread freezing occurring with dramatic suddenness. Dr. Chester Langway is chairman of the geology department at the State University of New York, Buffalo.
We have evidence from the ice core studies that approximately 89,000 years ago, the global climate changed from one of greater warmth than today into one of glacial severity. It is possible that a tremendous volcanic event occurred, shielding the sun, cooling the Earth's temperatures, and thereby providing the explanation of the advancing glaciers. The significance of this catastrophic event is that within a 100-year period of time, that the glaciers could have re-advanced over the surface of the Earth. It is possible that we may enter into such a cold climate almost instantaneously in the very near future.
If the climate does suddenly cool, will we survive the change? "18,000 years ago, Manhattan Island was buried under a mile of ice. Where the Hudson River flows today, there was a huge glacier. Pack ice filled the ocean off Long Island. We're only beginning to understand the cyclic history of the ice, but evidence is mounting that another ice age is due. The most persuasive data comes from beneath the sea. The research ship Vima sails the world's oceans, taking samples of sediments deposited long ago. A crew of scientists rig a long cylinder and drop it vertically to the ocean floor. The cylinder dredges up mud from the seabed in the form of long cores. The types of tiny fossils found at different levels in the core shows the sea temperatures of the past. Geologists have collected enough sea cores to form a detailed history of climate during the last million years. The cores are analyzed at the Lamont Doherty Geological Laboratory of Columbia University. Dr. James Hayes leads the research.
The climatic record in these deep-sea cores tells us that there have been 8 ice ages in the last 700,000 years. It also tells us when they have occurred. This provides us with a test of various theories of the ice ages. We now have a theory that tells us that changes in the shape of the Earth's orbit.
If an ice age is coming, what can we do to stop it? Nuclear energy might be used to loosen polar ice caps. Sea ice could be melted by covering it with black soot to increase the absorption of sunlight. Dr. Steven Schneider is a climatologist from the National Center for Atmospheric Research.
Can we do these things? Yes. But will they make things better? I'm not sure. We can't predict with any certainty what's happening to our own climatic future. How can we come along and intervene then in that ignorance? You could melt the ice caps. What would that do to the coastal cities? The cure could be worse than disease. Would that be better or worse than the risk of an ice age?
If the polar ice melted completely, sea level would rise 180 feet. New Orleans, San Francisco, and New York would be submerged. Clearly, one of the future's great problems will be to survive the next ice age. Earth, water, air, and ice comprise a delicate system in which everything is connected to everything else.
It's the interaction between people and climate that worry me the most, because with everyone jammed in countries, locked in national boundaries, a change in climate means a redistribution of where the rain is, where the growing seasons are. My worst fear is that the climate could induce a change in some country that would be devastating to their local survivability, and that would lead them to desperate acts that can drag everybody else down.
In the past, weather disasters have fostered a spirit of mutual concern. When drastic changes in our climate occur, hopefully, the same acts of courage and cooperation will prevail.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I had to end that. That wasn't the whole video, so if you want to watch the whole video, you can go to my Telegram channel. I just got bored with it, and I wanted to talk, especially since, well, I was watching Ashala Yardley the other day, and I was just so impressed with her reading. I learned a lot from her, so I don't know if you've heard of her before, but she's really good. All right. So, sorry, I got distracted there. about the climate change. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard about the North Atlantic Gyre. The Gulf Stream goes up the coast and then it curves over into Europe, and that's why Europe is so warm compared to like Canada. And so the idea is that because of all the fresh water that's going there now from all the ice melting, that's going to shut that down, and we could slip into this ice age like you were seeing in that video. So it got me thinking when Honey says that soon the world's going to be like everywhere is going to be like 75 degrees, perfect weather. I wonder if that would happen, right? And then it would cool everything down because it's so hot right now, but then it would stop and it would turn back on. That would be one way. So I always try to use my logical thinking and not just believe that, you know, magic, somebody's going to wave a magic wand or something. But that's a way that naturally it could happen. Anyways, so how's everybody doing out there? So funny when I think about coming on to do a live, I think about all these things I want to talk about. And then when I sit down here, I can't think of what it is. But since I was mentioning Ashala Yardley, go and watch. I guess she's on Beyond Mystic. It's like everybody's on Beyond Mystic now. Oh, hi, Aroha. Haven't seen you in a while. That actually got me thinking something else. I just want to say, let me give a shout out to Ashala. I've learned a lot from her. She's an amazing tarot card reader. I think she's one of the absolute best. And I mean, as far as YouTubers or people that we all know, I think she's the best out of all of them. And I mentioned earlier her shuffling technique. It's amazing. She takes these cards and she holds them up and she just lets them fall, and they seem to fall perfectly into a random order. I was very impressed with that. I just tried doing it. This deck's really small, so it's harder to handle, and I do it the old-fashioned poker style way. But I couldn't do what she does. And then she did an astrology spread for the week. And that's one thing I'm not really good at, is astrology and the 12 card layout. It's really difficult. I mean, you gotta know all these 12 houses and how they apply to us. So go check out Ashala. And then the other thing I was saying, I want to say hello to Aroha over in, I'm pretty sure you're in Australia, right? Because that got me thinking about, I have to think of ways to, you know, keep myself going, keep my YouTube going, getting clients coming back and things like that. So I finally sat down and made a mailing list, email list. And I've been avoiding doing it because one thing, I had no idea how to do it, and I knew it would be difficult for me. It would take a lot of time. So I finally Googled how do you do it, which the instructions I got were wrong. It said I could do 500 emails at once, and no. And then so I tried 200, couldn't do 200, tried 100. Finally, I had to do like 70. And I have 500 people on my email list, which shocked me. I had no idea I had that many people. I know some of them weren't clients because, I mean, like some of them were, I didn't recognize the name on the email or anything. So I didn't know who they were. And like one of them, I don't know who it was, but I got a reply back. Said, take me off your email list and don't send the emails where everybody can see it. I have no idea how this worked. This is kind of funny. I've never worked in an office. I've never had to do email things. I didn't know what the CC was. I didn't know what the BCC was, right? So when you send a group email, CC is carbon copy. Everybody gets the same one. BCC is blind carbon copy. I didn't know this. That's where you can't see everybody else's email on the list. But evidently, this person was pissed off that everybody else could see their email. Was it CPA Ninja? So it was. And so I guess a bunch of people who don't know me, or maybe they were from some business that I did with years ago, got an email from me for this video. So that got me thinking when I saw Aroha. But I sent out 500 videos, and 500 emails. And I can see I got one person to say hello. So if you are here now because you received that email today, let me know in the chat. Okay, so yeah, I had to make 11 different, what are they called, labels of emails, with each one had like 50 people in it. And that's how many emails I sent out. Yeah, that name was familiar. It was CPA Ninja, and I know I knew them from somewhere. It might have been like a personal friend, or a personal person that I knew who's maybe not a friend. So well, I was just going to mention I have a special on readings right now. I'll do this in my group email. I'll send this out in my group email. But for Mother's Day, it's just $55 if you want to get a reading from me now, and you want to save some money. Oh, that was another thing. I saw how much Ashala charged for a reading. I don't know how long her readings are, but $225. And I know she works with a network now, the Beyond Mystic crew. So that's probably not all going to her. Well, yeah, Susanna, thank you, but you're kind of a regular, so I'm trying to find those people who maybe forgot about me from a year or 2 years ago. And Lucy, thank you for being here. I was supposed to have, I don't know if some of you on my Telegram saw the banner that I was making. I was supposed to have Elisa on to talk about the 4D war, as she calls it, and how it relates to the Lord of the Rings. So I never thought about that. Oh, that's standard Mystic price for stuff, $225. And if I were to get a reading from someone, Ashala Yardley is the person I would get it from. But that's not a lot of people can afford $225 for a tarot card reading, I would think. But I'm out of touch with prices and money and stuff, having lived in Thailand for 20 years. I don't understand how expensive everything is now. Yeah, that is expensive. But my bills are cheap. Anyway, talk about the weather for a minute. Speaking of the coming ice age, that's one reason why I wanted to show that video to help me cool down. It has just been insane here. Even the Thai people can't handle it. It's been over 104 for the past, I'd say, 5 days. And the humidity is 80%. So we're talking, the feels like temperature is like 120. A couple of times I went outside to do some stuff and I felt sick. I felt lightheaded and faint. Couldn't stay out there very long. And that's with all of the systems I have around my house to help keep it cool. I have these misters. In fact, if people don't have questions for me, I'm thinking about going over to my phone and walking around and showing you guys around the house. Anyways, oh, and I forgot I opened up the see anybody? No. If anybody wants to come in and ask me a question, I have the link to this Zoom channel in my Telegram. I know, Stacy, you were in there earlier. If you wanted to come back in and talk, I know I'm all over the place today, but I didn't have anything planned. Really wanted to do some readings for some people. If they have any questions, what's going on in your life? I don't really like to do the big questions because so much is going on. It's just impossible to get a read on it, I think. Are you there? Oh, there's two people entered. Okay, I see. Oops. Cherie is here too. Okay. So first, oh, you just left. Cherie, would you like to come in and say hello? So, guys, this is Cherie. I'm not sure if she wants to talk. You there, Cherie? She may have fell asleep waiting. I think that's happened before. She's muted. So, Cherie, I thought you wanted to come in and say hello. So,
on the screen.
I'm just going to remove you. You want to say something? So you unmuted your microphone? Do you have a question for
Okay.
the cards?
Just real quick, I was kind of curious of what percentage of the weather machines the white hats now have.
Cherie doesn't want to speak, or she's not there. So
There I am.
yeah.
Okay, I should be unmuted.
Don't report. I'm not going to report you. Oh, you got back in. All right, Stacy, you want to come in and say something? There we go. Guys, this is Stacy. She's been the moderator for over a year now in my YouTube channel, I think. Your microphone's muted if you want to say something. What percentage of weather machines are in the white hat control? Okay, that's a good question. I need to change something here. Change my. There we go. You know. Mm-hmm. Sharia, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me, Scott?
Well, I'm gonna put it back on speaker and there. Oh, there you are.
How are you? Can you hear
How
me?
you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear
Can't
me
hear
okay?
you.
I don't know. My mic's unmuted.
Oh, maybe it's my speaker. Hold on just a second.
Input mode.
How about now? Can I hear you?
You hear me
Hello?
now?
Yeah, I hear you now. Sorry, I unplugged my speaker earlier. So I'm gonna do this first. Where'd you go? Guys, this was unplanned. All right. So if it seems a little unorganized. That's why. You look great.
You?
Do full screen. What's going on?
Oh, I got my Reiki master last weekend.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. Excited about that.
hmm Have you started practicing yet? I mean, have you been getting
Oh
any
yeah.
clients?
Hmm? Yeah. Yeah, I've been practicing. Well, I've been practicing for a long time. It feels like a long time. Almost a year now. So, but yeah.
I'm I'm sorry I don't have your link in the description of this video because I hadn't planned on it, but I will
Thank
put it in there for you.
you.
All right, so I was going about to answer this question. It was
Yeah, do
about,
that for sure. I could hear her a while ago when she spoke.
oh, that's, I
Hmm.
had my sound messed up. That's why because I couldn't see her, and when you were there and you were speaking, that's how. Okay, sorry, Cherie. So she was saying, yeah, and I think she phrased it properly too. What's the percentage? Because we know like they're still doing some not so good stuff. So let's do that.
Right.
Where are you in the world, and what's your weather like right now?
It's really warm. I mean, it's been the 80s. It's gonna rain a lot this week, but I really like it when it's like in the 70s and 80s myself, but no, it's not for everybody.
5, 6, 7. That's really cool. So I'm just doing 3 cards here. This is like past, present, and future. But I think what we're seeing here is it's gone from 50% in the recent past to 60 to 70, and I think it's just giving us a progression that this is like the pace at which they're moving. And I think this goes back to when things really ramped up, say in 2020, right? So this would be like 2020 to 2021, then last couple of years, and then now and into the future. So it seems like kind of a slow progress. I thought it would be faster than that.
Be a lot of bad people, I guess, still in the
And it's
industry.
probably like a tug back and forth too. Um, but do you have any questions, Stacy?
Well, I mean, I was thinking maybe a question from the higher self. Can you do those? Or do you want to do something more for everybody?
Uh, yes, I'm thinking something for everybody. Or just anything else you want to talk about? Anything on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, Janine read on comets recently, which I thought was kind of interesting because she was saying that they were real, but it's probably different than what they've told us it is, but it was kind of like not time to know. Have
Hmm.
you done any research on comets and stuff? So I'm kind of curious about that too, because even when you look at the astrology of things and the planets, I know there are certain stars and comets that affect your astrology also.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. And along that line is like the moon. I saw a lot of people have been commenting now that, like I got in a reading a long time ago that the moon wasn't really the what they say it was, that was a spaceship, and then people are like, well, what does that mean about astrology?
Yeah.
And
Because you look at and it seems to be accurate if you look at people's sun sign and rising sign and the moon sign and what it says about them when you were born. I mean, they're fairly accurate. I think they are. They seem to be. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of variations where you're like, but I mean, it seems
my
to be accurate with the moon.
my answer for that is that the sky that we're seeing is not the real celestial sky. It's and I'm not saying anything unique here or new here, but we're really looking at like a video screen, and those things are really out there. Like there really is a moon out there that has those properties, but the one we're seeing isn't that one. So there's like 3D versions and then 5D versions, something like that. I don't. So, what did Janine say about the comments?
Well, she's saying that what they were real, and she seemed like she was surprised by that it was real. But then it was more along the lines of, they haven't been telling us the correct information, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
But it was
right.
also a time for us to not know either yet.
Okay, well, then
Yeah, I was just
if
curious if you'd done any research on that or not on comments before.
no, but you kind of have to group the whole space thing, and this is a problem I have with what flat Earth has done to a lot of people. This idea that space isn't real, and
Yeah.
that there's and rockets aren't real, and satellites aren't real. And I'm telling you that those things really do exist. Not anything like what they tell us they do, that NASA tells us what's there, but those things do exist. And space is water, and that when you penetrate the shield, there are ways to penetrate that shield and go out into that space. You're going into water, and then there are bodies out there, like the planets, and all those things are real, really out there, just not the way that modern day astronomy tells us that they are. And back starting when I was about 19 years old, I wanted to be knowledgeable, and one of the things that I wanted to know about a lot about was astronomy. I spent years, hours and hours and hours reading books on astronomy that now I know were a total waste of time. Things like dark matter.
Yeah.
And so if you're studying astronomy right now, then you're wasting your time. Let's
Some of it
see.
I think is fairly accurate if they're trying to do like the personality and stuff. It seems pretty accurate, but then other stuff, it's like they're not telling you the whole story about what it is exactly.
Well, astrology is real.
Yeah.
And yeah. All right. So
And I've been catching a lot of orbs. I got security cameras for my house, so I can feel a little more safe and stuff. And I've been catching orbs that are triggering my emotion on the cameras.
they're not cicadas, right?
No, some of them are inside my house.
Oh, the orbs or
Yes.
cicadas.
Yeah, the orbs.
Oh, you got the cameras are inside your house, and you're picking up the orbs.
Yes.
Cool.
Quite a bit of them.
Well,
They're triggering the motion of the, because it'll put like
Well.
a green box around the motion and it triggers it.
how
Mhm.
would you mind if I did a reading on the orbs in your house?
Go ahead.
See,
I've been getting them in my garage a lot and in my living room.
I know you're pretty intuitive, so what do you think they are?
I don't feel anything negative from it. I feel like it's a friendly thing. Whether it's guides or family or just kind of hanging out and coming in and zooming across, but who knows? I could be living on some type of land that's has a lot more spirits on it, possibly. I don't know.
Hmm. Well, the first thing they want you to know is don't be afraid of them. But I mean, you already kind of know that. But with the chariots, I got the chariots and then the death under. So these are spirits, and they're coming to this. Have you recently moved into this house?
No, I've lived here for 20 years,
Oh,
but
that's
I recently got the cameras.
you recently got the cameras. So they're celebrating your new work as a Reiki master. Okay. But they're definitely spirits, but I think they're related to you. They're like family spirits. So maybe like healers. You must come from a long line of healers. And I think since you've started doing the Reiki, they're coming around to celebrate your recent graduation too. You know, and this whole
Oh,
change, I know that you've gone from working in the three had you're not working in your 3D job anymore, right? You quit all that.
no, I quit my job, my accounting job. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is they're there especially to celebrate this transition that you're making from the old way of living into this new way of life of a healer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, Lucy's asking about silver
Oh,
in
the
the
value
future.
of silver. How do you do that?
Well, I'll just do a 3 card spread on that.
Yeah,
Be past, present, future, and then
I want to know that too. That's a good question, Lucy.
let's see.
Yeah, I'll have to forward you some of those videos because I've been recording them a little sections. I'll have to forward them to you in Telegram if you're interested in them.
Which videos are those?
Videos that I have
Oh
some of
yeah,
them.
yeah, sure, of course. So, Lucy, the silver's been kept at a lower level for a while, and now you can see it's rising up above. Well, I mean, it will be. This is going into the near future and then the far future. So, it's. Let me see. How did you word it? Do you have
So
it in there?
any value will be in
So,
2025.
oh, and what 2025 will be in 2025? Well,
Mm-hmm.
if this is a victory card. I mean, this is saying it's going to skyrocket. I mean, look at that. That's like an arrow pointing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it? It's not really doing anything right now, right? It's kind of still.
It's gone up a little bit, but it's still like right under the $30 an ounce. I mean, it's gone up, it kind of fluctuates, but it is still right at the $30, but not quite over the 30 yet.
So this would be like that's what's going on now, and I couldn't say that this would be. Well, yeah, I guess it could be 2025 because we're expecting something big. I mean, this could be indicating, and I hate to make big predictions, but like, everything, the start of everything right here. This is victory
Value.
over the battle. And I hate saying, oh, this is going to be the year because how many times have we said that? But I mean, that feels like the year.
But it's hard
So,
to predict an amount with those cards, isn't it? It's like as far as
um, have you seen anybody do an accurate prediction on things like this yet?
I mean, it's
So
so hard.
yeah, Um, you know,
But
but
it looks promising.
I mean, well, that's a definite. I haven't seen value. How valuable? See, I can't say how valuable it'll be. That's impossible. All right.
Right. Right.
I can tell you that silver is meant to be the thing that's going to carry most of the value, not gold, right?
Yeah.
Um, for people
Everybody's
who
saying
don't
it's
know,
different price.
the thing about silver, what makes it actually more valuable than gold, the true value of silver is more of that of gold, is because it's used in technology, and when it's used in technology, it's used up. It's depleted, right?
Yeah.
Unlike gold, which is not so much.
Yeah. And right now it says the silver price futures is at like 27. So it's just been kind of hanging around between 27 and 29, somewhere around there.
I remember somebody saying that silver was going to go up to like hundreds, like $500 or something like that. It was just going to,
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Lucy.
Yeah. Thank you. If you have any questions, send them to Scott so you can do a reading on them. Scott does a great job with your personal questions too.
Well, my inbox has been kind of slow. I won't, won't but I'm not, I don't know, just not worried about money anymore. I've got a big bill coming up. I got to do my visa in a couple of months. That's $500. I've got some money saved for that. I'm sure I'll make it. But and this product that I'm selling, ASEA, is about to take off. I know. I've got somebody who has a lot of influence about to become, well, I shouldn't say, I'm not going to say who, and I'm pretty sure that after she tries it, she's going to be really impressed by it. She's going to want to become an associate. And so if she becomes an associate under me, and then with her popularity, it should be doing really well. So I won't have just one brand in the fire, you know. Like I make a little bit of money off YouTube. It's not a lot. I make a little bit of money here and there.
Now, Kenna was wanting to know, will the general population have replicators by 2030? That's hard to read that too, isn't it? So far away.
Depends on what you mean.
2030?
Depends on what you mean by replicator. Because there
Yeah.
are machines right now that have ingredients tubes hooked up to them, and you can print out food from them. But it's not quite a
Really?
replicator. Yeah, but a replicator, like in Star Trek, is turning
Yeah.
energy into matter. And that's like what Elisa talked about when she was on with Honey the other day. She talked about eating the replicated food and the replicated meat and stuff like that. So, and that type, I'm sure that technology already exists somewhere in our reality, and it's being kept from us.
Probably so.
So let's see the possibility that technology, that is transmuting energy into matter for not just food, for anything, clothes.
Cars, houses. Like, could you have really big replicators?
Yeah. See how close we are.
And could it only replicate living things? Well, I mean, matter, I guess, could all be living. Could all things like plants? Yeah.
No. I don't think you could replicate, for example, an apple seed and then go and grow that. No. That's creating life. You can't do that. That would be against the rules, I believe.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want them to replicate people. That would be really like cloning.
So they're like 90% of the way to getting it to the sovereign people. So yeah, the answer to that is yes. We could have replicators by 2030. I think they've already got them. They're working. Like I said, maybe they're working out some bugs on it, and then very quickly they're going to get that out to the people, and so within 5 years it could happen. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that that's an absolute fact that it'll happen, but it could. Susanna
Awesome.
wants to know if her sister has come back in another body yet. I believe, if I understand that correctly.
I think so.
So I'm doing something different here. Instead of doing big 7-card spreads for these, I just do quick 3 cards, and that seems to flow much better that way.
I do like the chicken and knife spread. They're nice.
Mhm. Yeah, if somebody has like a deep personal question. Oh, she's come back, Susanna. So she was there for a while, and then she missed having a physical body. So she's come back, and she's taken on a masculine form, because you said it's your sister, right? She's come back as a
Mhm. Good man.
as a male, and wow, she's gonna she he at this point when he grows up, I don't he's going to maybe become a very learned philosopher at studying like philosophy and intellectual debate, things like that. And then as he grows older, he's going to become a master of that and spirituality as well. So
Well, I would want to know, like, if she already knows him now, like if he's in her family
that can
or
be another
something like
question.
that.
I can do 3 more cards. I can say is because often the souls come back into the same
Mm-hmm.
orbit, so to speak. Oh, so let's see. Yeah, yeah, it's her sister's part of her star family. Okay, so she's been born already into the same star family. Um,
Our family.
so I mean, this or maybe is coming. So if there have been any boys born recently, Susanna, in your family, or it doesn't have to be genetic family, could be somebody in your like in your group of friends, or maybe somebody you don't even know yet who you're going to meet later on, but that person has been born into your soul family.
Yeah, because I feel like I've met a bunch of people recently that I feel like are more from my star family. I'm a lot closer to them than I am with people in my own family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I I love it. I love learning like the meaning of words and old sayings, and you know that meaning that the saying blood is thicker than water. People always think that means that family ties, genetic ties are more important than friendships. That's the opposite meaning of that saying.
Hmm.
So the full saying is something like blood is thicker than the water of the womb. So it's saying it's a contract. So back
Hmm.
in the day when you used to become friends with somebody, you'd become blood brothers, right? Like people would cut their
Cut your hand. Yeah.
and so that's what they mean by blood. It's a contract that or a relationship you make with someone who's not family. So anyway,
Interesting. I didn't know that, but that's how that where that came from.
I scroll through these reels and stuff and I always like the philosophical ones and the etymology. There's this one guy who does word etymologies. That's like where do words come from? It's fantastic stuff. So I'm always learning something new there.
Now, JF said that Jenny said that the ice age would be mitigated by technology. I guess maybe she might have been watching the Leonard Nimoy stuff.
Yeah,
But it's interesting how they were talking about the ice age and now they're talking about, you know,
right.
weather increasing the heat.
So I remember watching that episode with In Search of about the Ice Age, and in '77 I was alive in '77, so I remember that winter. It was cold, and I was in Florida. Well, yeah, I was born in '63, but I remember it getting colder and colder, and I really believed it, that was going to happen.
Mhm.
And yeah, then but it could be that that was a totally different timeline that we were on.
True.
You look at the Mandela effect and all these other things. I mean, I've been having these weird things happen where I'll find like an old TV show that I'd never seen before, or an old song or whatever. It's like something that, and it's like it's already in the what do you call it, the zeitgeist, or you know the collective consciousness, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like I never saw this before or something. So
Does anybody else have any more questions for Scott?
I was
I think you've got everybody else that asked a
oh,
question.
let me make sure I don't have any emails. What time is it? 9:15. Well, thank you for that, Stacy.
I'm dropping your links in here.
Yeah, I see.
Interesting. It's not letting me to put in certain things. It looks like it's gonna take.
Yeah, I see yours in there. I wouldn't want to win the lottery, Kenna. And I was meant to inherit $2 million when I was in my early 20s.
Really?
Yeah. My mother's great 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 grandfather was a Spanish sailor, and he was a trader to Spain. He started giving information to the English to raid Spanish bullion, and he became very wealthy from that. And he had just one daughter, and she had a baby out of wedlock, so he disowned her from the inheritance and 4 generations. And this was a story that was told in my family for years, and we all used to joke about it and laugh about it. My uncle used to say, "I'll sell you my share for $1." Well, my aunt Shirley decided she was going to try to get that money. This was back in the late '80s, early '90s, and she started working on it, and we were all kind of laughing at her until she started making progress. She had hired a lawyer, an international lawyer, and he had found several of the accounts from the Acevedo. That's his name. It was Acevedo. I don't remember his first name, but that was the family name on my mother's side. And I ended up getting all of us in the family. I think there were about 200 of us family members that were spread out.
It's
right?
spread out pretty good. 200?
Yeah, but there was $900 million in these accounts.
Wow.
And when I did like my math guesstimation, I figured I'd get about $2 million from it. I mean, I got a legal document that I had to go to a bank and get notarized as I signed it. And at the top of it said, Acevedo Inheritance, $900 million. And
Wow.
I was confident that we were going to get this money. I remember I started telling friends I was going to buy a yacht, take them around the world. But I can tell you, had I got that money, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. I probably would have ended up dead from driving
Yeah.
horses or something.
Well, what happened to the money?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this lawyer, in order to go into these accounts and do things, needed power of attorney. My aunt
Okay.
gave him that power, and he went into the accounts. Now that 900 million, that was like all the things, like properties. There were properties in the Canary Islands and properties in Bahamas and in England, and some of the crown jewels were said to be a part of this. But there were bank
Wow.
accounts with cash with millions of dollars in them. And the story goes that he cleaned out the accounts that he found that had cash in them and just absconded. And
The
so
lawyer did?
the lawyer did, right?
Oh, wow. Is he gonna get, I want to know if he's gonna get
Well,
like karma for that.
oh, I would hope so.
Oh,
Okay,
I
let me see.
hope so, but I want to know.
I see. Lisa Garrett, you have a question? Hi, all.
Yeah, she
Are all our core wounds coming up to be
forgiven and
forgiven
released.
and
Yeah.
released? All our core wounds coming up to be forgiven and released. Now, this reminds me of the reading that I saw from Ashala Yardley, and she talked about how Mother's Day is coming up, and this topic, exactly what you're asking, Lisa, it came up in that, and and yeah, I can. That's kind of a broad question, and I can do my spin on it, but one of the, and I have, anyways, I don't want to get into my personal things, but I think so. So I'm gonna put another spin on it, like how should we be um how should we be open ourselves to this, and especially in regards to our mothers. Okay, and this is special for Mother's Day.
Nice.
Okay, so
Happy Mother's Day out there to everybody that's a mother. It's coming up next week.
are we okay? So I'm going to say how is it best for some? I think most people have some
Trauma.
mommy issues, right? A lot of us
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
If you didn't, then you were very lucky.
You're lucky. Yeah.
I'm always I was so this got me thinking about my problems, and so anyway, let's see, how should we, so this is for all the people who've had, and I'm not saying I had a bad relationship with my mom. I didn't. um
Got the devil, is what that is.
um okay, this is not as bad as it looks, because and I did say this is for everybody who's has, maybe difficult issues with their mother,
Mm-hmm.
that you need to break those attachments to those things that have hurt you in the past. Uh, it's through the
Forgiveness.
it's
Um,
forgiveness, but it's also taking the lessons that you've learned from that and helping guide other people through it. Um,
wow.
so yeah, we've all been we all we've all been disappointed by family, and that's one thing is you should never put 100% of your faith in a person, right? Even mothers. Now, this is kind of a harsh story, but this is a Chinese friend told me this. I don't know if this was true, but he told me that his mother put him up on a high wall, like a 4-foot wall, and told him, "Jump, I'll catch you." And when he jumped, she let him fall. And when he fell and scraped his knee or whatever, he's like, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "I want to teach you a lesson. Don't trust anybody. Even your mother can let you down." I don't know if I think that's an old story that he just said happened to him, but I've heard that expressed that way before. So yeah, we need to break those attachments to pain that were perceived pains from our family members and
Yeah,
forgive. Yeah, forgiveness.
it's hard. Can be hard. What about like I know we kind of looked at silver, but like what about those like Zim notes or the dinar and people got that kind of stuff and they're thinking it's gonna revalue to something else. Do you have to do something specific
Well,
to
no,
look at it?
that would be hard because you just grouped a whole bunch of different things in
Yeah,
together. And frankly, I don't want to go through individual things
yeah. I
and
just
do
didn't
one
know
by
if that
one.
was like, yeah, something
It
that was
is
gonna
funny
rip.
though that as we were talking just now, and I was shuffling my cards, the Empress fell out. So I think the universe wanted to tell us that all of those things are going to be part of the abundance that is used to rebuild the new world.
Exciting.
Thank you, Lucy, for being here. And yeah, I think it's about time for me to go.
Yeah.
Finally, the weather's supposed to change here. Yeah, I see the clouds are building. There's rain in the forecast, but it's only 50%. I've noticed. I know that usually 50% chance here means no rain, and the humidity was at 80% this morning when I got up. It was horrible. But looks like we're about to break into the rainy season. Thank God, because it's just been unbearable here.
Well, I mean, even clouds would make a big difference in the temperature outside
Right,
when you're out
right,
there. I mean, if you get shade, I mean, it drops down the temperature quite a bit.
right. It's been almost spooky to go outside every day and see no clouds. I mean, they're just the sun blazing and blazing. The earth gets hot, and then at night it can't cool down. The sun comes up again, it just reheats again. It's just been building and building and building, and it's like we all have cabin fever here because I can't go for walks. I can't go out and play with the dog except for early in the morning and in the evening. But
Have you pulled cards on your weather as far as if you're going to have any relief?
you can't make predictions of weather with tarot cards. And see if I can. There's Sandy.
Oh, hi, Sandy.
Sandy, hello.
Hi. Oh,
All right. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight, Stacy. It was a surprise and a pleasure having you join. I'm sorry, Cherie, I didn't get you in there. I didn't know you were speaking. Um, maybe next time.
yeah.
Let's see. Yep. Good night, Kenna. Good night. Good night, Mary Grace. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Matthew, for the super chat, and Lucy. And let me see. Next week, I'm not sure what's going on next week. If I haven't, Honey said she's traveling today. I don't know if she's going to be back next week, but we're planning something next month. I'm going to be joining Honey on her channel.
Good.
So,
Well, I know next Sunday is Mother's Day.
oh yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I still want to have Elisa on talk about that 4D. So if she's and I think she told me she wants to do it next Sunday. So I think next Sunday I'll
Mhm.
be having Elisa on to talk about her experience in the 4D world, riding her dragons and fighting evil.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
awesome.
everybody. Well, thank you for all the people who tuned in to this tonight. And oh, didn't have it ready to go. And thank you, Stacy, for coming in to say hello. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.